Awesome MMA. Yes, I've been in hibernation, but we're back with a banger because the Aura Merchant tier lists need an update. I haven't seen one made by any YouTuber in quite some time, and it definitely needs an update because a lot of the landscape is changing. I mean, guys are getting knocked out, guys keep ducking, guys are starting their title runs, guys are getting their title shots. So a lot of the folks on this list might be in different places than they were last year. And you might not agree with all these, but you know, that's all right because that's what we want. We want original takes. You see these tiers, the first tier, S tier, is live off their aura. Those are guys that don't really have the resume, don't have the performances to back their hype. And there are definitely some guys on here that belong there. And the others are self-explanatory. But yeah, I just want to get right into it. And starting with the most important placement on this list because he might be the only guy in the UFC that genuinely has won a fight because of who they are, what their name is. He won the fight against Dominic Reyes simply because he is John Jones. If that's not Aura Merchant, then I don't know what is. Now, I can't put him and live off their aura because obviously he's a fantastic fighter and he does have the skills to back it up. I just think that he does get overblown. Like, I do agree he is the greatest fighter ever, but it gets to a fucking point, bro. It gets to a point where, like, we're giving this guy fights because of who he is, because of what his name is. And, the glaze after the Stipe fight was just so unbearable. It's like, no other guy would be getting this glaze after beating that old washed up man. Like, imagine if Sergey Spivak like beat an old Stipe Miocic in that fashion. Would we be very impressed with it? Yes, but would he get the hype? Same hype that Jones gets after that win? I mean, like, I can't believe Rogan really said that was the greatest, or that was the hardest test of Jones' career yet, as if he didn't fight DC twice. But yeah, he doesn't go in the live off the aura tier. I would say he's overrated because of aura. He's obviously doesn't live off of it, but I do think he gets too much credit because of his name, because of what he represents. And it is overblown. That's not to say he isn't great. Like I said, I do think he's the greatest fighter ever, but like, it gets to a point where, you know, yeah, we're giving this guy favors from the judges because of who he is when he clearly didn't win that fight against Reyes. So yeah. Next on the list though, Shavkat. Now, I gotta put Shavkat in the same tier. Now, honestly, before the Ian Gary fight, I might have put him here, but I don't know, man. That performance was not impressive. Not at all. I mean, I don't see really anyone giving credit to it, so fair enough. Maybe he's not, like, that performance isn't rated very highly by anybody, but maybe it doesn't get enough criticism. I mean, Ian Gary was so close to winning that fight. I mean, I wanted him to win so badly going into it just because of, like, the overblown, the shot caught by murder takes. Like, those are just so exhausting at this point. But yeah, I mean, he literally, like, breathed on Ian Gary's neck for the first 2 rounds, won those. And I mean, if Ian Gary just threw maybe just a little more output when they were separated in those rounds, he could have gotten either one of those, and then he wins the fight 47-46. I mean, Ian Gary killed me with that one. I mean, he's so close to winning. But yeah, I mean, is that a guy that can beat Bilal? I don't think so. I think Bilal is going to beat him. But obviously, there's going to be guys that, say Shavkat by murder because they've seen the edits of him getting the standing choke on Neil, or on Jeff Neal, which was tough. It was crazy, but like, I just can't You know, he's not the killer. He's not the real Hamzat Chimaev as he used to be touted as. Like, that's just so ridiculous in retrospect after seeing their last performances. So yeah, I mean, he's got to be overrated because of Aura tier, but it has cooled down a little bit. He's not as highly rated as he was before that fight, but still a little overrated because I still see too many people saying he murders Bilal. But Alex P, I gotta put him in the tons of aura but warranted. Honestly, he is similar to John Jones in the sense that people pick him because they love him so much, not necessarily, and they don't necessarily give his next opponent the credit that he deserves. You know, there's always he murders Ankalaev in the first round, and he just walks through Ankalaev, and Ankalaev's a bum compared to Poatan. You definitely see those out there, but I mean, he could though. He could just knock out Ank in the first round. I could see it. I'm picking him to win. I think at this point, like, the Poatan hate is going a little too far to where he had such a great year last year that people kind of want to see the glaze come down a little bit. And yeah, the glaze is annoying. Like, Poatan has one of the worst fan bases in the UFC, but I just try to ignore the fan bases and I just look at, him just stand alone as a fighter, as a personality. I mean, how can it not be warranted? I mean, the guy's a killer. He's the best striker in the UFC, arguably. I would put him and Ilya up there, hand in hand. The best lower weight class striker and the best higher weight class strikers are right there. So, I mean, this guy, he's fantastic. He really does deserve all the hype that he gets. And although it may be annoying, I definitely agree. I do think it's warranted. I don't see how it can't be. But Tom Aspinall, I gotta say, it's warranted. Now, Jones fans seem to think that it's not. But I'm sorry, this is probably the best heavyweight prime we've ever seen. I mean, I honestly can't believe that Jones somehow convinced himself that this guy has done nothing. I mean, think about it like this. Jailton Almeida just had his scariest performance, the performance that just put the heavyweight division on notice, right? He got Spivak out of there. Are we forgetting that Spivak, I think he beat Marcin Tybura in his last fight. So we're really going to hype Almeida for doing that to Spivak when Aspinall's blitzkrieged Volkov, Spivak, Tybura, Blades, and don't even try to say that the first Blades loss is legitimate. I somehow see people say that, that was a legitimate loss. Leading up to their rematch, everyone was saying, oh, it was real loss. Blades made him, blow his knee, which is crazy in retrospect because he got blitzkrieged, and he would have got blitzkrieged in the first fight if he hadn't have accidentally blown his knee. And ran through fucking Pavlovich. And honestly, I really do think he would beat John Jones. Jones is great. These guys are clearly like leagues ahead of the rest of the heavyweight division. But there's a reason that Jones doesn't want to fight him. I mean, this guy is fucking built different. He has the head movement and lightness on his feet that you would see in like a welterweight or a lightweight. It's so crazy watching. Watch his fight against Pavlovich and tell me that's the movement that you'd see in a heavyweight, bro. Like, this guy is insane. He's 260 lean and he's moving like that. Not to mention he's a killer on the ground as well. And he has one punch KO power. Like, this really is probably the best heavyweight prospect ever. And I do think he will retire as the greatest heavyweight ever. And I do think that if he fights Jones, he'd beat him. I think he'd probably chin Jones in the first 2 rounds. And obviously, I'm not going to say that it's an easy fight. Like if Jones wins, I wouldn't, be that surprised. Like Jones is obviously a great fighter, and they're both nightmare matchups for each other in many ways. So, but I can't stand Jones saying that this guy's done nothing. That's just so ridiculous. So yeah, but Aspinall obviously is warranted. I don't see how you could disagree. I mean, this guy is built different. And speaking of built different, you gotta put Ilya, obviously, as warranted. I mean, this one is a no-brainer. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. In fact, I think he probably has the most aura in the UFC right now. And, there's a reason that Makhachev fans are trembling at the thought of having to fight this guy. Because they know he could knock Islam out. And I think he would too. And the aura is warranted. Like, how is it not? I mean, chinning Volk and Max in the same year is unheard of. That's probably one of, if not the greatest year an MMA fighter has had. This guy is, in my opinion, obviously, it's not even a hot take, but yeah, this guy's going to be the greatest featherweight ever by the time he retires. I think he will be double champ by the time he retires. And fuck it, he might be the GOAT. I'm riding with Ilya, bro. Like, this is my favorite fighter. He's so built different. He's the most entertaining star in the UFC right now. And it's warranted. How could you not say it is? Like, come on. Bilal Muhammad, though. You gotta say he doesn't have much aura. And he kind of does it to himself. It's honestly, it's his mannerisms when he's in the crowd. It's his Twitter. He's just kind of an awkward guy. But I mean, you can't deny that he's a great fighter. And the Bilal Muhammad is boring, like, take is honestly just worn out and not true at all. Like, I think he's had been more entertaining recently than Shavkat has, that's for sure. I mean, Bilal bullied the fuck out of Leon, other than the one round where Leon took his back. Like, that was a great performance. And if you think that was boring, then you're probably the same guy that says Shavkat by murder against Bilal, which is crazy. Bilal's underrated. He's a great fighter. It's kind of like Sean O'Malley, though. And, they're different personalities, but I say that in the sense that they're both just not very, they're not very charismatic. They don't really impose much. They don't command attention, command respect on the mic, on Twitter. Just their personalities just aren't grandiose, and you don't have to be. Bilal is just himself, and I respect that, but it does sort of take away from the, aura of champion. Like, I mean, that was pretty embarrassing, that moment with the security. I mean, how could they not know he's champion? Like, that was crazy. I could not see that happen to any other champion on the roster right now. So, yeah, that was crazy. He doesn't have much more, but he's still a great fighter. As for Benoit, this guy has lost every bit of aura. He used to be an aura merchant, but he doesn't even have that anymore. And he has no momentum. He got the fuck beat out of him by Moicano, who just got blitzkrieged by Makhachev, which kind of shows the level that BSD is at right now. I mean, he's borderline ranking material at this point. Never probably going to be a champion. Probably won't sniff the top 5 in his career. So, yeah, I mean, what does this guy have going for him? Absolutely nothing. No aura, no momentum. Yeah, he's perfect for that ranking right there. As for Prates, I want to put him in the live off their aura. and I'm probably going to. And just because he's there, that doesn't mean he's not a good fighter. I just think that out of anyone on this list that has been ranked or is going to be ranked, I think his persona, how people view him relies on his aura the most. I mean, it is an aura merchant tier list. And there's people picking him to knock out Bilal, knock out Gary, knock out, people think he's just gonna run through everybody like he's, featherweight McGregor on his title run. But I don't see it. Like, at least McGregor was knocking out like fellow prospects. Like, he didn't knock out a young Max, but he beat a young Max. McGregor beat a young Dustin Poirier, who was good at the time. He beat Dennis Siver, which is not impressive. Beat Chad, which was for an interim bout, so I guess that wasn't on his. I guess it was on his title run, but that pretty much was the title. But yeah, I don't think Protez is really, like, he's knocking fools out, but he knocked out Neil Magny. Like, after seeing that, can I really say that, oh yeah, this is the guy to beat everybody? This is the world beater. This is the, guy's gonna knock out Bilal. Guy's gonna smoke JDM. Like, I just haven't seen enough of it. I haven't seen enough from him to warrant the hype and respect. Like, don't get me wrong, he's a great fighter. Like, I do think he will do well, but I do think there's the idea of, like, the fighting nerds and, Carlos Prates, the guy who knocks everybody out. But I mean, he's knocking out bums like Li Jingliang in the big 2024, which is crazy. That guy is super washed, not really worth anything. Knocked out again Neil Magny, who looked absolutely horrible in that performance. I just need to see him beat someone, of some caliber before I can really say that, okay, he's deserving of hype. Adesanya, man. You see, prime Adesanya would be he'd be right here, but can I really say he has much aura? No. I'd say he's here. I do think, like, he's still a good fighter in many ways. Like, the performance against DDP was good in many ways. The first round against Imavov was really good in many ways. But I mean, he's not holding up. He's aging. He's not that old, to be honest. I think maybe it's not much the aging. I mean, he's had a long career. And yeah, he's kind of facing the new age middleweights, and his fighting style maybe was never that good. I mean, I can't say his fighting style was never good or never that good, but what I mean by that is him himself. Like, I don't think we can forget that he had stinky performances against Cannonier, against Vittori, guys who really aren't, championship material anymore. He barely scraped by those guys. He, robbed Romero. He robbed Whitaker in the rematch. I don't think this is like, a goat of a division is now falling off. Like, I don't think he was ever like that goated. So, I mean, I always thought he was a little overrated, but he obviously, had, like, don't get me wrong, like, he, like, gained so much aura and respect after that Alex Pereira rematch knockout. And, like, that was kind of like, oh shit, like, this guy is actually a next level striker. I still don't think he's, best striker of all time, or he's probably not even top 10 all time, but like, that kind of confirmed that, like, oh shit, this guy is really fucking, when he's dialed in, like, he really is fucking elite. But Like there's just always flaws in his game, and those are really starting to show now. And I don't see him beating really anyone else in the top five. Like Cal Barajo probably would beat him. I think he's now at like the Brendan Allen level of middleweight, which is yeah kind of crazy because it's Adesanya. So yeah, I don't think you can say he has zero aura because he still is showing flashes of like an elite striker, an elite fighter with crazy takedown defense, ability to get up to his feet from any position, insane output, at least in his last two fights. But yeah, he's not that durable, it seems like, and he can be finished as he has been in his last two fights. But Max Holloway, man, where am I gonna put Max? Honestly, I think you need to make a new tier for him. I'd say, yeah, I'm adding a row below that one, and Max is gonna go there, and that row is going to be titled not much aura, or losing. Let's just say losing aura. Losing aura, yeah, because he is. I mean, obviously, then I can't even say he's losing that much aura. He's kind of medium aura. Just like it went down for sure after losing to Ilya, but he lost to Ilya. Like I still think he would probably beat every other featherweight except maybe Volk. But I think maybe now I'm like current Max could beat current Volk. I think that's possible. I think it's close to a 50-50 fight. And I do think he beats every other featherweight on the roster. And I think he beats pretty much every lightweight on the roster except for Champ, except for Arman, and except for Charles. The Charles fight is super close. I really hope they make that, but I don't see him beating Arman. I don't see him. He could beat Arman. Arman is somewhat a competitive fight. I don't think he beats Islam. There's just, there's too big of a gap there. I don't see him beating Islam. Like all we've seen him do is beat Gagey at lightweight. I don't think that's enough to tell us that he beats, Islam. But he's still very high level at lightweight. Like he's up there. But yeah, I can't say he's an aura merchant. Like he deserves all respect for that Ilya performance. Like I knew he was gonna lose that fight. I was saying it. But he did honestly better than I thought he would. Like he was in there and he won the first round. And he was keeping Ilya at bay with those long rangy strikes, which is exactly what he was supposed to do. But you just can't beat Ilya in a 5-round striking match. Like you have to put him out or you have to hold him down. Like you're just not gonna beat him that way. But I don't blame him for that loss at all. He's not an aura merchant, but he doesn't have that much aura either. So that's why I just put him in the medium aura. But Hamzat, I think you guys know where Hamzat is going. Tons of aura, but warranted. I mean, I can't stress enough how crazy running through Whitaker in one round is. I mean, it was such a crazy performance that like people would probably pick him to beat anyone at middleweight and anyone at light heavyweight. Honestly, I would. I don't think there's a man in either one of those divisions that beats him. Except, the Dricus fight is going to be crazy. I should have Dricus on this list. But, yeah, I mean, this guy deserves all the respect. Like, there was a time after that after the Usman fight where people were, like, kind of wondering, is he going to fight again? Is he ever gonna get the title shot? Like, is this guy even title shot worthy? And yeah, it's crazy to look back at it now because he smoked Whitaker and won. Like, shut everybody up. I picked him to win that fight. I think it looks crazy picking Whitaker in retrospect. Like, you look like a fool if you did that. But I get it. And I mean, no, there was reasons to pick Whitaker, of course. But like, I don't think we've never seen a grappler this good. Probably in UFC history in terms of getting someone out of there on the ground, finishing ability on the ground. Like, there's no one like him. Like, he's literally one of one. So yeah. Shamil Gaziev, man. I mean, how can you not put him there? No, I'm joking. He is sort of medium. Like, I would say, it's such a joke putting him in the same fucking tier as Max, but like, Shamil, he, man, he's such a hard fucking person to rank. Like, he's almost like he's just a joke. Like, the entire, like, aura of Shamil is just like the meme, like the blob, the 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 accent, the KFC, the Taco Bell. Like, no one's under the impression, like, for real, like, without joking, that this guy is title shot material or even like top 5 material. But like, he still has somewhat, like, his personality, his character draws you in to where you have to watch him fight. So for that reason, I'm not gonna say he doesn't have much aura. I'm gonna say he has medium aura, just because there's something that draws you in. He's a captivating personality, whether you like it or not, or whether you think it's warranted. There's something about Shamil that makes you want to watch him, for better or for worse. But Manel Kape, I think, man, he's close to live off their aura, honestly. Like, honestly, I gotta put him there. I'm sorry. That performance was crazy against, who was it? Bruno Silva? That's the thing. It's the same thing with Prates. Like, yeah, it was a masterful striking performance, but like, I can't stress it. It was against a very sketchy level of competition. And are we gonna forget what happened in his last fight against Makayev? Like, that was a awful performance from both guys, but especially Kape. Like, I don't think this guy has a chance. He has maybe a 10% chance to beat Pantoja. Like, I don't think that fight is very competitive. Just watching how Kape performed against Makayev, like, this guy's getting like title shot mentions, and I don't see why. Like, I get it, he had a crazy performance, but like, do you think if Makayev beat Bruno Silva in that way, they'd give him the title shot? Like, it's because of the character, it's because of the personality, and he is a captivating personality. But in terms of in-cage performances, like, I do think he lives off his aura, and he's not, the guy to put, Pantoja away. I gotta say that. Like, he does live off his aura. And similar to Mavzar, I don't think he lives off of it, because it's hard to say that he's not high level. I mean, or that he's not championship material. He has had great wins, but I think this guy's, has no. I gotta say, he has no chance of beating Ilya. Like, he can get that title shot, but he ain't beating him. And I think Diego would probably beat him in a rematch. I think he'd lose the Max. I think he'd lose the Volk. Yeah, he's maybe the 5th or 4th best featherweight on the roster right now. He got out-grappled a lot in a lot of moments against Sterling. Like, that was a very close fight. The fight against Arnold Allen, in my opinion, if you saw my last video, was a robbery. Like, I don't think he beat Arnold Allen. So we had a razor close decision, which I believe he lost to Arnold Allen, and a very close decision, which I think he won. I don't think he lost to Aljo, but it's Aljo. First of all, like Aljo's good, but can we even say that Aljo is top five in the featherweight division? I don't think so. And yet, he's not cutting through Aljo. Like the guys at the top, like Volk is cutting through Aljo. I'm sorry, Ilya is cutting through Aljo. If you don't believe that, then you're seriously delusional, and you're one of those Aljo bantamweight goat guys. But yeah, I mean, I don't see it. Like, who do these big guys think he is? Like, this is not, this ain't Makachev. Like, he's not like that. He's not the brother. He's not that style of brother. Like, he's not one of the Russians that are like cold like that. Like, he's kind of mid. I don't think he has any chance of winning that belt or beating Volk or beating Max. Or Max isn't even in featherweight, but if he was, he'd lose to him. And yeah, I just don't think he's the guy that can compete with Ilya, which some people have tried to say. But yeah, he's not the guy to do that. Come on. Charles is a hard ranking, though. I gotta say, he has tons of aura warranted. He's close to being overrated. Just because, like, he's a fan favorite. He's one of my favorite fighters. I mean, how could he not be one of your favorite fighters? I mean, he has one of the best stories, period. Like, he's an inspiration to everybody. He's a legend. But, after that, all right, everyone. Man, it's hard to. Shit, I'm sorry. I gotta put him in overrated because of war. It hurts, but he lost to Arman, and people, even me, I thought to myself, like, shit, did Charles win that fight? Watching it live, and then the day after I rewatched it, I was like, holy shit, why did I think this fucking guy won? Like, he threw up some submission attempts that almost like got Arman out of there, and he won those rounds because of that. Are you kidding me? Like, it's because it's Charles. I thought he won that fight. Like, similar to Jones. Like, people love him so much that they're just blindly, giving him decisions. And, like, he's still a great fighter, and he is a tough test for anybody in the lightweight division. Like, he's top 3 still for a reason. I think he beats Max if they fight. I think he could beat Arman in a 5-rounder, but I don't think he beats Makhachev. But he could. Like, don't forget, like, Charles can finish anybody. He's elite on the ground, and he might not be the most technical on the feet compared to a Makhachev, but he does have crazy power and can knock anybody out. And he's crazy durable. Like, I don't see anybody chinning this guy. And honestly, this new wrestling heavy style that he showed against Chandler, it might be what gets him over that hump, that thing that's holding him back from beating guys like Arman and Makhachev. So, although he's still amazing, I gotta say, like, people still say, he's, the champion has a name, and, he's the rightful champ, and, he beat Arman already, and, people make excuses for Charles because they love Charles. I love Charles, but, like, I do think he's slightly overrated because of the persona, and I get it. Like, I love him too, but I gotta be honest. Like, he's a little overrated. Now, Dustin Poirier. I gotta say, Dustin's a tough one. I don't think he's overrated in terms of I think he's a little underrated. I wouldn't say he's here. I'd put him in medium. Like, at this point, we know who Dustin is, and he clearly has made massive improvements after, like, during that Makhachev camp and after that fight. Like, that was not the same DP that we've always seen. Like, that was a pretty elite version. A guy that's up there in that division. A guy that can compete with anybody. Although I don't think he beats Makhachev or Arman or Charles or Max. Like, he's the next guy up, and he has, paths to victory against those guys. And like, that wrestling defense and that submission defense was no joke against Makhachev. Like, that was seriously impressive, especially for a guy who got cut through like butter against Habib earlier in his career. Like, he's making improvements. And with that being said, though, like, I think people understand that, the title dreams, like the shine bright like a diamond memes that were all, everyone wanted this guy to win, and everyone deep down knew he wouldn't. And yeah, we know who DP is. We know he's not, he's not the champ material, as much as it pains us. He's just not, the guy in the division. Like, he's just he's there. He's been there for like as long as I can remember at this point. So yeah, I'd say medium aura fits DP. But Paulo Costa, man, after the Strickland fight, I gotta say he has no aura. Like, he's kind of a joke at this point. Like, respect to Costa, he's a good personality and he's entertaining, but like, he's just falling off so hard from that Izzy fight, man. Like, I don't know if he beats many ranked middleweights. Like, I can't believe, I don't know if it's true, but I think Anthony Hernandez is ranked below him, which is insane. And like, there's a couple guys ranked below him that I do think would beat him. Like, I think Shera would beat him. I think MVP, both of those guys will probably beat this guy. Anthony Hernandez beats this guy. Brendan Allen beats this guy. Obviously, Nasruddin, Strickland, DDP, like, all those guys beat him. I think Izzy would beat him again. So yeah, he doesn't have much momentum or aura. Like, people are kind of understanding, like, oh yeah, this huge muscular guy doesn't really have any power, can't put anyone away. And yeah, I mean, he's lost his last two fights, and he had a good performance against Whitaker, but I mean, he lost, and then he lost again to Strickland, and those are two high-level fighters, but he wasn't really in there with Strickland. Like, I thought it was a 50-45. Now, I could be wrong. I've seen a lot of people say he won the last round, and fair enough. At the end of the fight, he was starting to chop down Strickland's legs and just throwing a lot of kicks. And he's a good fighter. I can't say he's not a good fighter, but like, is anyone really? Does he have any path to the title? Like, is anyone really hyping him these days? I don't think so. And why should he be hyped? Like, he's had his chances, and he's just on a steady decline right now. But Ankalaev, man, I gotta say he's warranted. In fact, yeah, I warranted is right where he belongs. Like, he is the hardest test for Alex, and that's what he's being hyped as, and that is absolutely warranted. Like, he is going to be a nightmare matchup for Alex, but Alex is also a nightmare matchup for Ank. And I've seen a lot of people, bedtime MMA, saying that Alex's run is over, Ank is here, he's gonna win the title. I disagree. I think Poatan beats him, but I can still respect the fact that, like, this is obviously the hardest test, and the fact that it took so long to make the fight just kind of adds to the hype. And yeah, I'm expecting a banger. It's definitely pay-per-view price worthy. Might not be Stream East in that one. Definitely don't want any lag. But yeah, he deserves all the hype. He probably beats everyone below him, except Yuri is a very close fight. And I could see Yuri actually being a horrible matchup for Ankalaev. But he's elite. I mean, I don't think he beats Alex, but I respect that he is the hardest matchup for him. So yeah, that's everybody. I would like to know what you guys think about it. Put it down in the comments. Let me know. Do you disagree with any of these rankings? Should I have some guys higher, some guys lower? Let me know. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next time.